Hello people, it's nighttime. It's about what? I think it's about what, 10:52 at night. I think I gotta do this little video real quick. I just saw this article today. Just a minute ago, not today, but just a minute ago. Listen to this. It says Xbox made $3.5 billion in first quarter 2021. It says according to a new financial report, Xbox made a stunning $3.5 billion in the first quarter of 2021, and sales will likely continue to rise. Right? It said while it's easy to compare Microsoft to Sony or Xbox to PlayStation, what fans should really be doing is comparing those things to themselves. Although the eerie of the console wars has definitely died down since the PS3/Xbox 360 era, fans will still put a lot of more stock in it than Sony or Microsoft. These big companies know that they are successful, and they measure that success against their own previous accomplishment rather than against a competitor. A recent financial report from Microsoft showed in the first action as it revealed that Microsoft made $3.5 billion in the first quarter of 2021. There's a number of reasons why Microsoft is doing so well this year, but it may surprise fans to hear that it isn't all thanks to recent release of Xbox Series X. That is definitely a major part of the accomplishment, but several other factors also comes into play and makes this impressive sales record possible. Game Pass. Anyway, ZeniMax, Bethesda, but I'm going to talk about them in a minute. So it says here, let me keep reading. It says here, according to analyst Daniel Ahmad, this will be the first quarter fiasco year for Microsoft gaming division since they started breaking out numbers about 6 years ago. In the report, he acknowledged that most of the growth from hardware sales can be attributed to the release of Xbox Series X, but strong game sales and service are a huge part of the achievement. Ahmad takes extra care to point out that Game Pass, like I said, is growing at an incredible rate and bringing in a lot of money for Microsoft gaming division. Well done, Microsoft. Well done. You did your homework. Anyway, another interesting factoid to come from this report is that content and service still makes up 80% of total revenues for Xbox, despite the next generation console launch launching in November. It's entirely possible that console sales will be even higher if the supplies was able to meet the demands, but that is just speculation. All in one, this represents an incredible success start to 2021 for Microsoft, and it seems highly likely that this success will continue. Game Pass on throughout the rest of the year as Game Pass continue growing and more players get their hands on Xbox Series X. I told you guys that Game Pass is a problem, but I'm going to reveal something to you as soon as I finish reading this. It's going to be, y'all going to laugh. In the comments to Ahmad's tweet, many players are curious about whether or not this includes numbers from Microsoft's acquisition of ZeniMax and Bethesda. Since that acquisition wasn't finalized until recently, it wouldn't show up in the data for first quarter. Instead, players might expect to see some change in the next quarter report. Still, it will be tough for Microsoft to top this impressive report. They ain't even got started yet. The console race was over before it got started, because once Microsoft said that the games were going to be 60 to 120 frames a second, 60 to 120 frames a second, and it was going to be backwards compatible. That was checkmate. But then you add Game Pass to it. That was another checkmate. Then you add ZeniMax Bethesda, which brings me to them. Notice in the title. Notice in the title. Notice the Xbox Series X ain't even out their first year yet. This is just the first quarter for the first year. You know, the Xbox Series X got 5 to 6 more years, right? But anyway. But here's where ZeniMax and Bethesda comes in. Listen to the title. Xbox made $3.5 billion in first quarter of 2021, right? So there's 4 quarters in every year, right? Alright. So, here's the joke. Microsoft just made $3.5 billion back from that $7.5 billion deal that they just made with ZeniMax Bethesda. So you take 7.5, subtract 3.5 billion from it, and you realize that Microsoft got 4 more billion to make, and they will get their money back. They just made half of what they took to purchase Bethesda. They made it in the first quarter alone, and the Xbox, and it ain't even summertime yet. We're just in April. We got May and then June. Xbox is about to make a killing. Microsoft is about to make a killing off this Xbox Series X. And then that Game Pass is a monster. You know what I'm saying? Game Pass is a monster. Remember I told you, they play games on Android and iOS now. You got, and you just brought the entire Apple fan base to Xbox. They just made 3.5 billion from the 7.5 billion that it took to purchase ZeniMax and Bethesda. They just made their money back. And the infrastructure is in place, and they're just rolling right along. And now they got Dragon Quest Builder that just came to Game Pass. And then here comes Final Fantasy VII the remake. They are about to make a killing. While everybody else is playing catch up, Microsoft is light years of everybody. How do you want to play Game Pass? The Android way or the iOS way? Well done. Well done. Well done, Microsoft. Well done. And Phil Spencer, you a fool, boy. Anyway, look. I was looking at the title and I'm like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that they just made 3.5 of the 7.5 billion that it took to purchase but ZeniMax and Bethesda? And I just start laughing. You know what I'm saying? So Microsoft, they just doing their thing, man. They got, man, it's gonna be hard to keep up with these guys, man. It's gonna be real hard to keep up with these guys. Game Pass is a monster. You got the entire Android fan base on Game Pass, right? But then you got the nerve and the gall to bring the entire Apple fan base over to Game Pass. Checkmate. And Apple fan base, iOS fan base is huge. Woo. Well done, Microsoft. Well done. And I was just, like I said, I was laughing at the title when I seen it. I said, wait a minute. You mean to tell me you just made 3.5 billion from the 7.5 billion that you took to purchase ZeniMax and Bethesda, and you're not even 6 months in yet into your first year? My God. Well done, well done. And they got the infrastructure in place, man. They got the infrastructure in place. They keep you up to date with This Week on Xbox. Oh my God. Then you got that infrastructure on the Xbox One and the Series X, where you get publisher deals and games and all that. And then throw ZeniMax and Bethesda. That's just the cake. And then you bring the entire Apple fan base over. That's the icing on the cake. Oh my God. Well done, Microsoft. Well done. When people took the game industry for granted, when Sony and Nintendo took the backwards compatibility for granted, like it didn't mean nothing, Microsoft said, okay, alright, we'll take it and we're going to fix it. We're going to show you what it can do. So we're going to take old games and run them at 60 to 120 frames a second. But no, we're going to add this to Game Pass. The name says it all, man. Game Pass. Once you got a title like that, it's going to be hard to top. Hard to beat. Forget it. And your games are just coming in like this, and you're just eating them up like Pac-Man. Wow. And notice they ain't even got Starfield yet. Starfield is in development. Elder Scrolls 6 is on the drawing board, is in the idea phase. My. Well done, man. Well done. Anyway, I'm gonna leave a link in the description box with this article. Nice talking to you, beautiful people. Chris, it's still a Star Wars and Star Trek thing. Bored, dark side. I'm gone. Peace.